Hello everyone, this is Matt with Way Out Web Design. I just wanted to take a minute and produce this supplemental video to the course, the HTML Basics course that is available online. In this video I'm going to be briefly showing you how to use an image map in a simple HTML web design. And you'll notice here what I have is one of the designs that came with the course. And if you notice over here in the sidebar, normally there is an optional sidebar text right here, but in this case we have an image. But you notice when we hover over this image, there's links in the image. Now these are not text links. These are links that are mapped to an image that's on the page, and I'm going to show you how to do that in this video. So I'm going to switch over to the version of the design that does not have the image map in it. And to begin with, what we need to do is we need to put an image here in our web page, and I'm going to open up the code that I have already, and I already have the code in here for this image map, but I'm going to explain to you how it works. So I'm going to take this opening comment and I'm just going to move it down so that this image is not commented anymore, and I'm going to comment out this optional sidebar text because we're not going to need it anymore once we get the image in there. So you'll see I have an image tag here with the source of images/prices.gif, and it has a width of 150, which is how wide the sidebar is, and a height of 200. The alt text, the alt attribute, is set to prices, and then you'll notice this attribute here. It says use map, and then the value for the use map attribute is set to $price map. That's what we're going to use to program the browser to know where the links are. So that's the first step. You include the image in the web page with the image tag, and then you set the use map attribute to an arbitrary name. You just decide what you're going to call this map, and you name it with a $sign in front of it. Now I'm going to save that file, and I'm going to go back to our page here, and when I refresh this page we should see the image get placed into the page, and there it is. Now when we hover over this, you'll see there's no links because it's just an image on the page. It's just like any other image right now, only it has a map associated with it that we haven't created yet. So let's go back to the code and I'll show you what that code looks like. An image map code basically uses the map tag, and I'm just going to remove these comments and then we'll talk about this code a little bit. Okay, so here we have a map tag, and you notice we give the map tag the name price map. That is the same name as what we assigned up here in the use map attribute. So just to reiterate this, when you set an image and you tell the image to use a specific map, like we did here, we told the image use this map, the one we've named price map. Now we come down here and we describe that map. So we give it the name, and then we tell that map inside of the map tags we place area tags. So basically we're telling the browser, hey, this is an area that we want you to remember. And so when you define an area, you set the shape attribute on the area, and we've you've set it with rect, which is short for rectangle. That tells the browser that this area is going to be in the shape of a rectangle. And here are the coordinates. Now, the coordinates for each type of shape vary. So on a rectangle, you're going to need 4 coordinates, but on a circle, you would need only 3. In this case, we're making a menu that's going to be in our sidebar, and we're just mapping off rectangles to use for links. So what I've done here is I've put the coordinates in for the X and Y upper left hand corner coordinates, and then the X and Y coordinates for the lower right hand coordinate, or the lower right hand point. Now let me show you how I got these, because this can be kind of confusing if you do it with trial and error. You know, you just put numbers in and see if it lines up with your image. Well, what I like to do is take my graphics program, and I have the image open here, and I use Photoshop for my imaging. And so what I did with Photoshop is, you can see up here there's a ruler across the top of Photoshop. And if you notice, on an image, your X coordinate is going to represent this ruler right here, and your Y coordinate represents this ruler right here. So for the first coordinate, I had to decide, where do I want the upper left hand corner of this link to be? Well, I wanted it to be in the right here. So what I did was I put a guide on this area of the image to mark off that line, and then I did one for each of the other links as well. But my point here is, if we start with the X coordinate of x0, y 50, see, this long line here is the 40, this long line is the 60, so this one exactly halfway would be 50. So that means the upper left hand corner of this link in this image would be at the 0, 50 position. 0 on the X and 50 on the Y. So 0, 50. And then the lower right hand corner of this rectangle would be on the 150, and we go down to 80 here. So 150, 80 is the second pair. So that's how I got the coordinates for the image. You'll see here it's 0, 80, and 150, 110. And then the third one down here would be, well, actually the upper left hand corner of it here is 0, 110, and then 150, 140. So that's how I got the coordinates, just by using my the program that I used to create the image. It tells you the coordinates of the image if you use the rulers and the guides here to kind of mark off where things are. And there are some other tools that you can use right within the graphics program. If it's Photoshop or one of the others, a lot of times you can put your cursor on the image and it'll tell you right where that coordinate is. But anyway, so that's how I got the coordinates from Photoshop. But what I wanted to show you here are the coordinates. The first two on a rectangle is the upper left hand corner. The second two on a rectangle are the coordinates for the lower right hand corner. And so when you put those in there, like I did here, you get a description of an area on the image that you plan to use. And so while this one doesn't have it, we're going to see, well, I'll bounce back over here to the finished one. The finished one does have it. See, that's how it knows that area belongs with to a link. Now, how do you tell it what page to go to? Well, you do that just like you do any other link. You just put the hyperlink reference attribute, or href, you tell it, you set the href attribute to the page that you want to go to. In this case, I'm just setting it to another page on this website that's in the same folder as the page that I'm looking at, or the code that I'm looking at, and I'm just sending it there. And then of course I have an alternative text attribute here, or the alt attribute, set to display some text in case the image is not there. So that's basically the parts of an image map. So just to recap, you put the image in the page, and then you come up with a name that you're going to use for your map, and then you set the use map attribute to that name with a pound sign in front of it. And then after you've defined for your image which map to use, you just create a map element and give it the name that matches the one you set on the image, and then you mark off the areas, and then you assign those areas a hyperlink reference. So that's how you use an image map for links in your web page.